Oh, I got some juicy news for you. Profit First app version 2.0 is here. With an enhanced user experience and video guidance throughout, you can now be even more confident in your Profit First implementation. Plus, listeners who work with a certified Profit First professional get extra benefits. Check it out now at www.profitfirstapp.com.
Today, right here, right now, this is the moment that you will finally say,
I'm growing my accounting practice, and you're going to discover exactly how right here, right now,
on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ron Saharian, co-founder of Profit First Professionals.
I am Liz Sporn, guide here at Profit First Professionals.
And I'm Mikey Mike, like Marky Mark.
Aww.
Mike McAllowitz, yeah, I'm pining for the 80s right now. I'm Mike McAllowitz, the author of Profit First, a brand new book called The Money Habit, and a co-host along with these great experts here at GMAP. We're here to help you grow your accounting practice, your bookkeeping practice, and even your coaching practice. We see you, coaches. And you're going to learn how to grow it through a great guest interview today. We have Wallis joining us, and we're going to talk about how you can leverage insurance to your advantage, and your clients can do the same. Plus, Ron's got a killer insider access. I got a little bit of a GMAP Now task, and we have a trippy question coming your way today.
Yeah, guys, I'm excited about today's show. Also, it's brought to us by People Process.
Yay.
People Process HR Solutions. They're awesome. They've been running our HR department for, I don't know, probably 10 years now.
Yeah, you haven't gotten in trouble in like 3 years. God, for People Process.
There we go. No, but it really has streamlined everything. And as you grow your organization, you do need these protections in place. And People Process really is awesome at all things like that. But also, don't forget to review, subscribe to the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What is the big home project this year? I'm asking you guys. Ron, what's the big thing you want to get done this year at the house?
That's an excellent question.
Well, I don't have anything that I want to get done at the house, but I did just build a car cleaning workstation with all the, like, it's on, it rolls, it's got drawers.
Oh,
it's
that's
got hooks,
fantastic.
it's got stuff for all my car cleaning gear and waxes and everything, handles. Awesome. And it's, so I built it last weekend.
That's fantastic.
Liz,
what's your big home project this year?
We're doing our kitchen for the first time ever.
Oh, you good.
20 years in this house, and we've only painted cabinets, and I'm really not good at this. And so I'm already overwhelmed by all the decisions I have to make. I'm really, like, just even talking about it, my stomach hurts.
Do you know the 2.5 rule when it comes to home remodeling?
No, I know nothing.
Whatever they quote you is 2.5 times that cost. Like, that's what you'll incur.
Noah went in. Okay, yes. So we went in. Noah came. We met with the designers, and they're friends of ours, and so we met with these ladies. And Noah throws out this number. Both of them were like, "Wait, are you serious?"
Right. Well, we might have an "Are you serious?" moment coming up just in a few seconds when we talk about life insurance and perhaps other ways to use insurance, but also to cut your taxes, which I don't think many people use. And I think our accountants and bookkeepers in particular listening right now can introduce this to their clients.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's introduce our guests. Ever wonder if you're getting the full story on insurance? Wallis Tsai, former Goldman Sachs banker and founder of Above Board Financial, is cutting through the noise to bring transparency to an industry full of hidden agendas. Ain't that the truth? Get ready to rethink what you know about insurance, minus the sales fluff. With no further ado, Wallis, welcome to our show.
Oh my.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, we're pumped to have you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I hear insurance. I remember my father, he's like, Mike, never get whole life insurance. It's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always had this hesitancy around insurance. And you're telling me something totally unexpected, that I can actually save or reduce taxes and build wealth. How? Why? Get started here.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a great point that you make, though, about how there are a lot of these like bits of advice floating around, right? Whether you're like Googling it on the internet or talking to like a loved one who, clearly has your best interest first, right? That, like, a lot of people get bombarded with different bits of advice about insurance. And part of why I started Above Board was because I myself had been through a number of really painful insurance meetings, and I
Mm,
recognized how many friends and colleagues were getting just really bad advice. And the truth about it, since you mentioned whole life, is that it really depends on the individual person or couple or family's situation. And getting to the right answer is basically like a math problem.
Mm.
And I think your audience will really understand and appreciate the value of like, doing the calculations correctly, getting the numbers right. That is not always a value that you find consistently held across the insurance industry, right? Like accurate, honest, quantitative analysis, where it's like totally the baseline in the accounting world, right? Like you gotta be doing that. And so I think the way that we approach insurance would make sense to folks who do accounting, because in some ways we have a similar ethos in how we analyze things. And so on whole life, what we do is we just run the math, right? Like we can work with a client to understand their situation, get their tax rates right, and model it out and see what it shows. And then the other piece of that, right, is what pricing the person would likely get on life insurance. The answer might be different for somebody who maybe is a nicotine user and has some health
mm,
challenges versus somebody who's a non-smoker and in fairly good health, right? So it's ultimately about doing the correct analysis for the client and not just falling prey to these sales lines that get used regardless of whether they're
So
appropriate.
how do we know though, right? Like
yeah.
I don't, how do I figure out these complications? Because, there's different types of insurance that, come to us at different stages in our lives. Like right now, I'm considering, do I need to buy elderly care for myself because of situations that previously happened with my family? And I have people saying, no, you don't want to do that. Then I have people saying, yes, you do want to do that.
Yeah, so the way that we analyze it is very quantitative, and we literally have Excel models that we will run through the analysis. And my co-founder is a software developer, so we've also automated parts of this analysis in our process to make it more efficient too, and basically reveal what the right answer is. And the framework that we generally use, whether we're looking at whole life, like what Mike mentioned, or long-term care, like what Ron was talking about, is we say, okay, well, how else might this client save for this goal or this need? And let's lay out what that alternative would look like. And now let's look at insurance and let's compare those two things and talk about what does or does not make sense for this particular client. And are there any like non-financial considerations that come into play? And that's actually one that we often see with long-term care, especially for clients where self-insuring, meaning just saving the money in, say, a taxable brokerage account, is an option, right? And that's not available to everyone. For some people, they truly could not afford a long-term care need, and insurance can be super helpful there as well. But even for folks where self-insurance is an option, we'll lay out, well, like, what does this math look like? But then also layer in, there is an element of family peace and conflict reduction that can come from having a pre-designated, I'll call it a bucket of money, but in this case, it's really a long-term care policy where you basically just say to your adult children, hey, this is the money that I've set aside for this potential need. And there are a lot of policies that cover one person, and there's some really great ones that cover a couple as well, if somebody's doing this analysis with a spouse or partner. And it can actually really smooth family relations. I see how my 9-year-old and 11-year-old battle each other today, and I hope that when they're adults, that they'll have like a really lovely, productive relationship. But we know that like adult sibling relationships don't always end up being peaceful and delightful, or that even when they're mostly peaceful and delightful, dealing with tough situations like a sick
Mm,
parent can bring out a lot of tensions and difficulty. And so
mm-hmm,
planning in advance can just make things easier.
mm,
I liked how you mentioned a bucket of money. One of the things that our members do, they're, accountants and bookkeepers, and they're helping business owners basically collect buckets of money in the form of owner's pay, profit, tax allocations that can support, so the business can support them. Thinking of it from a business perspective, what can business owners do to help in their personal life like this? So whether it's long-term or disability insurance or long-term health insurance, things like, or life insurance, what can
Yeah,
they do?
Totally. That's a great question. So there are actually a lot of really fantastic things that business owners have available to them if they feel like they have like a personal need or a goal of getting certain types of coverage. One of the main areas where a business owner is very likely to be able to make themselves better off by putting a type of coverage through their business versus doing it individually is disability insurance.
Okay.
And that is because disability insurance coverage offers very meaningful discounts for groups as small as 3 employees.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool. And this is something that you can do whether you are the owner of a business or whether you're even just an employee and you happen to find 2 other colleagues that are interested in applying around the same time. There's a range of options that you can apply for disability insurance when people share a common employer. Now, some of them require no employer involvement, and it's literally just like 3 people at the water cooler, I guess in today's parlance, like on the Zoom chat, decide to
Hmm.
do it, and they apply at the same time. And you can unlock huge discounts that way.
Wow.
For women, it can be 20 to 40%. For men, it can be 5 to 10. And so that's a really great opportunity that requires no employer buy-in. But I know a lot of your listeners are in a position where they could really influence the benefits offering. And in that scenario, you can do even more stuff that's really interesting, including avoiding underwriting. And what's great about that is that with disability coverage, the way that the carriers manage their risk is not just through pricing, but also through exclusions. And so we've had a lot of business owner clients who, maybe they, have seen a therapist or had a precancerous polyp removed at their first colonoscopy. And the result of either of those things would be that, in one case, mental health, in the other case, a colon would oftentimes be excluded from coverage,
Yep.
which is not great, right? Like ideally,
No.
we'd like a policy that
No.
covers
No,
any
it's not,
illness,
Wallace.
right?
Yeah,
That's
well,
terrible.
some body parts are excluded. That's just wild to me.
No elbow
Yeah.
over here, no elbow. Okay, carry
Yeah,
on.
so you really would like to have something that covers everything, right? And one of the
Yeah.
great options with a group disability plan is that with, not a huge group necessarily, oftentimes these options are available for, definitely for 5 people. And depending on the compensation profile, it can start with even a smaller employee base, right? Especially for small professional services firms where folks are, reasonably highly compensated. You can find great stuff available for even fewer than 5.
Mm.
But you can get these policies that are automatically issued to all employees and don't have that underwriting process. So you avoid both the hassle and the chance of getting exclusions by putting it through at the business level and getting a group of employees together.
Wow.
And then lastly, I'll just
That's
mention,
great.
because I know that
Yeah.
business owners are often focused on like, how do you balance having a really great benefits offering with budget
Yep.
considerations?
Yeah.
And there
100%.
are a ton of great options too, where you can get, creative and even do something like, I'll just, use some made up numbers here to illustrate the concept, but you could say, I want everyone at my firm to have 60% of their earnings up to a maximum of 5,000 per month in benefit covered by the workplace plan. But then I want to offer the option for any employees that are interested to buy additional coverage through the same program, and they'll get a discount, but they'll just pay for it themselves because they're kind of deciding they want more than the baseline for themselves.
Wow.
Are you seeing insurance more being a premium product of larger Fortune 5,000 companies versus smaller companies where it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong if you're seeing this, that it's the smaller the company, say under 10 employees, it's almost like, or under 5 employees, all the employees are fending for themselves when it comes to it, because even some of these plans that you're talking about, they're not inclusive of a whole body. And sometimes it's almost like, why am I even paying this much money for this much coverage?
Mhm.
When, chances are my shoulder's going to go before the body parts that are covered.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
is it a luxury now?
Yeah, so I would say that certainly larger companies tend to have like a higher percentage of the time where we see that they have a workplace plan. But I would say importantly, even at the big companies, those plans usually set employees up to have at least a 40% drop in take home pay if, God forbid, they
Hmm.
actually become really sick or injured and have to go on leave. So it's not like at the big employers, people are really robustly taken care of anyway. And
Right.
then at the smaller employers, oftentimes I think it's just, and we all deal with this, right? Like we're busy, we're focused on our core thing, and taking a little moment to kind of think about these additional things that can make a huge difference if, God forbid, you or a valued employee actually has a serious illness or injury. It can be hard to make that time, right? So I think that that's why you probably see lower coverage at those smaller businesses, but there absolutely are like really great programs available in the market. And we're always happy to help folks explore what those are, because it does make a big difference, right? And especially at small places, that personal connection you have to your colleagues is oftentimes like really meaningful. And so if somebody's sick and
Do
not
you
able to work, you want to have a plan.
do you think the accountant has a role in suggesting insurance to fortify the business?
Yeah, I think that an accountant could definitely add value by highlighting things that could be worth considering. Certainly so we don't do anything with tax prep. In fact, we love connecting with tax advisors because we often have clients who say like, I know I shouldn't be doing
You're
TurboTax.
about to get like 600 calls from
It's
our
time for me
listeners.
to it's time for me to graduate, or
Yeah.
like, oh, I've been working with the same person that my dad worked with, but like my dad was a dentist in Oregon and I'm an investment banker in New York, and this isn't probably a fit right now. And so,
Yep.
it's like, we like connecting with tax advisors because it's very complementary to like what our clients need. But one of the things I hear from people is that they'd like somebody who thinks strategically and isn't only filling out the paperwork. And so I think that anytime a tax professional can offer a suggestion that's, thoughtful and reasonable, that, that's got to land well. Cause I mean, we're all busy, right? And we all drop balls in areas of our own personal management. So I think tax professionals suggesting things like, oh, like, do you have disability insurance? Great year income wise, but want to make sure you'd be okay if you were sick or injured, is a totally valid and helpful thing to say. Um,
Is there a list of like 5 insurances that all businesses should have no matter what?
yeah, so I would say that for at the business level, definitely being able to offer some disability coverage to your employees and ideally providing them with an option to buy more if they so desire is a great thing to do. Um, Life insurance is interesting because that one's a little bit trickier. I
Right.
mentioned how disability insurance is very attractively priced and you can get advantages on underwriting by doing it at the business level. With life insurance, I would say that for most people, the best options will be in the individual market if they're just looking to address the risk of premature death, right? It's a different story if you're talking about like, sort of sophisticated like supplemental retirement planning.
Right.
Then you could potentially do something at the business level or individually, but it's not going to be better from a pricing perspective if you do it as a group, right? The advantage is more just that if the business wants to offer this benefit, they could. Importantly, and I'll just flag this as something for people to be aware of, we have a number of clients who think, oh, I checked the box for some term life insurance through work and I pay for it, but it's through work. Honestly, that's usually a really bad deal financially for most people. One area where we have done some work life insurance plans is situations where a valued member of the team needed coverage but had something going on in their underwriting profile where they weren't able to qualify individually, but they were still very healthy, not in any way like imminent risk of death, but still just unable to get coverage. It could be anything like, having gone through like a, substance abuse treatment program in the last few years, or having survived a cancer journey. And a lot of younger folks are being diagnosed with cancer these days. And so somebody having survived cancer in their 30s, it comes up more often than you might think.
Hmm.
So sometimes there are opportunities to either, help out the business owner or a valued employee with a workplace life insurance plan too. Yeah.
So
Okay.
one of the core topics for today was cutting taxes.
Mhm,
And so our listeners help their clients with taxes.
mhm.
How exactly, maybe it's obvious, not to me though, how exactly does insurance help cut taxes?
Yeah, so there are a couple different ways. The first and kind of most frequently used one is on permanent life insurance. And permanent life insurance is an umbrella category that includes a lot of different flavors of life insurance. So if you think of permanent life insurance as being ice cream, then like whole life might be mint chocolate chip, variable life insurance is strawberry, and then you have universal life. And within universal life, there are a few different structures that you'll come across, including indexed universal life. And so with those products, most of the time, those products have a cash value, which is value that can be used while the insured person is still alive. And then all life insurance products, of course, have a death benefit, which is the value that gets paid out when the insured person dies. And what's interesting about those products is that as long as they legally remain life insurance, they accumulate in value without any taxes. And then when the death benefit is paid, there's never any income tax. Importantly, though, life insurance is subject to estate tax, but when you work with a qualified attorney and use any number of structures that are available, oftentimes you can get that life insurance death benefit removed from the estate tax as well. And so the core use case for this permanent insurance with respect to reducing taxes is both on taxes that you would otherwise pay on the accumulation of wealth, right? So if I were saving this money in a taxable brokerage account, I would get a 1099 each year, and I'd have a mix of qualified and non-qualified dividends, and then I'd have some capital gains, perhaps, right? Depending on what I did in the account, maybe a mix of short-term and long-term, depending on how I'm managing it. And when you invest in that same basket of securities inside an insurance policy, you don't have that annual tax bill, right? Like you're not getting that 1099. Now, what you do have instead is that there are some, fees associated with insurance policies, including insurance, right? Like unlike a brokerage account, if you buy a variable insurance policy or whole life insurance policy, and then a week later you're hit by the proverbial bus, right? Like your loved ones will get a huge payout, right? Whereas that's not the case with a brokerage account. So there are some differences between these two animals, but there are also some ways that you can make reasonable assumptions and identify, well, is this client really made better off with insurance or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's overinsured. One of the things, can people be overinsured?
Mhm.
Let's make that our final question because we got to wrap up on time,
Yeah.
Wallis.
Absolutely. So on the question of overinsured, absolutely. And that is part of the problem, I would say, with overselling.
Nice.
One of the things that we're really careful about and that we advocate for people to really be thoughtful about is that I would say that from a tax savings perspective, insurance can be a great source of diversification in the portfolio. If my effective counterparty in my brokerage account is federal and state government, my effective counterparty in my insurance policy is the insurance carrier, right? And there's some elements of regulation as well, but I think that thinking about not just putting everything into insurance policy is always important, right? We never advocate for doing that, and we've absolutely seen examples of people who were sold stuff elsewhere where that was the advice. And so I do want to be clear that yes, that's a risk, but at the same time, it is possible to analyze somebody's total balance sheet and size the insurance policy to be a smart tax efficiency move rather than some albatross that you might regret down the road.
Got it.
Nice.
This has been really insightful, Wallis. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, would you share with us where our listeners can contact you and get more information from you?
Sure thing. So you're welcome to visit our website, which is www.aboveboardfinancial.com. And we actually set up a special landing page for listeners. So you can go there and then /grow my accounting practice.
Nice.
And,
I'm going there right now. I'm going to do it.
Free insurance for everyone.
Yay!
And so we're going to have that page set up. And folks are welcome to come visit. My co-founder, Nancy, is a fabulous software developer. She powers our operations, and that will definitely be live by the time that the show airs.
Nice.
Awesome.
Wallis Tsai, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much. All
Good
right.
stuff.
All right, our listening friends, we're going to recap what we learned. We also have an insider access from Ron. I got a GMAT now task. First, let's do our little trippy trip time. What's the question you got for today?
Well, I just love how I pretend my little trippy questions are like tarot cards. So I just don't know what's going to happen until I pull out 5 like at the beginning. And this one I think is great. So she mentioned earlier, we procrastinate and people don't do things like disability insurance, life insurance. We're like, we'll get there someday. And then we hope that we have good luck. So my question is, do you have any superstitions because we're like, I can't walk under that ladder. I don't have disability insurance. Any superstitions?
Why don't you start us off, Liz? You don't get a chance to start with these.
Oh, it's
typically.
always it's broken wind or broken mirrors for sure. Like I will avoid that. I will walk away from a broken mirror is definitely a bad luck.
And what's the consequence of that bad luck typically?
Death.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Ron, what's yours?
I'm a fan of all superstitions. Black cats, I'll turn.
Oh,
I won't walk under.
I just opened an umbrella in the office a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I forgot.
Yeah, I don't walk under things. I don't step on the cracks because I don't want to break my mother's back, Devo.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all over the place, from being an athlete and having superstitions to doing the same thing over and over. But and the consequence isn't death. The consequence is just negative vibes.
All right.
So there was my mother's German growing up. When we'd have the birthday cake, sometimes we'll say "Happy Birthday, Michael," or no, it has the person's name on it. Before you cut the cake, you have to cross out the name, otherwise you're cutting the person's life. So she would smear the name every single time. Interesting.
Wow, that's serious.
That's
the Germans are very, very strict. Yeah,
I
and
like
if you
that
didn't,
one. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah,
if
me
you didn't
neither.
smear
Now I
and
gotta
start cutting it, the
smear my
cake gets thrown out. So
Oh, boy.
yeah, and then you have apple strudel.
You don't write your name on a strudel though.
No, that's why you go to apple strudel. So if you forgot,
that's the backup cake.
Yeah, if you cut the name, it gets thrown out, and then Mama pulls out the apple strudel, and then no sauerkraut for dinner.
All right, and then you sing "Happy Birthday" and Lederhosen.
Exactly,
Yes.
with a cornucopia
Oh.
in your hand. All right, let's recap what we learned. Liz, what do you got for us? You keep leading this.
Well, it was so interesting. So last year I did a Profit First overview in Columbus. I went to speak to 100 plus insurance agents. Do you remember this, Ron?
Oh,
last year, right?
Yeah.
And they talked about that permanent life insurance. And I was sitting in the back with my mouth open. I was like, "This is amazing." I'm like texting my husband. I was like, "We need to have this. This sounds amazing. We can make so much money." Blah. And every time I said something, another insurance agent would turn around and give me their card. They're like, "I'll help you out. I'll help you out. I'll help you out." So it just reminded me of the permanent life insurance, the universal life. It's very interesting, gentlemen. If you don't know about it, look into it. Well, we know Wallis now. She can help us.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
We actually use insurance at the author office as a key person retirement plan. So it's a form of a VUL, and it provides them life insurance, but after a certain period of time, we give them access to those funds. So it's a cool retention mechanism.
Yes.
My takeaway was Wallis shared that when considering insurance, well, what are the alternative methods to save for that need, and then compare insurance. I thought that was a really good perspective. Insurance isn't the only way, and you need to compare it to alternatives.
Nice.
We also want to know what you learned, our listening friends. So when you do rate and review the show, and we hope you do, we hope we earned a good rating from you. Please share what your insight was from Wallis in the comments. All right. Ron has that crazy, dangerous weapon of his.
You don't want to know what I learned?
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
No.
I always lead with you. Yes. What did you learn, Ron? I'm sorry.
No. It just a lot of our listeners want to be strategic advisors.
Yeah.
Right. You're already a trusted advisor. So level up, become the authority, become the strategic advisor, and help fortify your business customers by taking a look at their P&L, seeing if they have insurance, see if they have partners insurance, talk to them about their insurance, because if they're not properly insured, their business is the number one to, help them achieve the lifestyle they want. And should anything happen to them and the business isn't insured, they're screwed. So as a trusted advisor, I think it's kind of your responsibility to open that door and say, "Guy, I'm looking at your stuff. You're not insured. What are you doing?"
Or insured properly.
Or
right.
insured properly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that too, Ron, of just like the trusted, like curated professionals like Wallis, having someone like Wallis in your back pocket. That's great. Cool.
You heard from the gang here. We'd love for you to rate and review the show now with your thoughts too. All right, Ron, pull out that crazy weapon of yours. There it is.
What's your insider access? So Mike kind of alluded to, oops, wow, that was weird. alluded to inside access. Mike and I both have these plans that we're talking about individually, but also we're very conscious of insurance for the organization. We want to offer a lot more insurance, but there's things that we can now do and look into. But one of the things is whatever insurance you have on yourself or your company, you have to pay the bill or the insurance stops. There was a situation here at Profit First Professionals where I forgot to paying the bill. Okay, we caught it, but what we had to do is we didn't have that bit money sitting around, right? Because we're running Profit First. We're like, oh my God, but we ended up getting the money and paying it. So what we did to ensure that we're never going to miss an insurance payment again, we have an insurance account. We keep that account fully funded. That way we will never miss an insurance payment ever again.
Nice.
Yeah. Profit First 101. I love it.
Yeah.
And we also, self-insure. We have a vault account.
Yep.
We have a year's salary for the entire organization reserved. And that's, I think, atypical of an organization. I think that helps you navigate things. I'm going to say the same theme for the GMAP Now test. The one task you do, you see results, is should disaster strike, whatever it is, insurance covers the money components, but what about the operational components? So here's the ultimate insurance plan. Take a 4-week vacation with regularity, extract yourself from the business to force redundancy in your organization. So when you're out, insurance has covered you financially, your business, because of redundancy, has covered you operationally. That's the GMAP Now task.
Yeah, boom. That's a great one. Guys, thank you for listening. Wallis, great job. Thank you. And if you guys want more information, we're sure you're reaching out to her. Don't forget to review and subscribe to the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. And
if you are interested in learning more about becoming a Profit First professional and working with other amazing strategic advisors here in our community, you should head to profitfirstprofessionals.com. Hit that discovery call button or schedule a call and get on our calendar, basically. You can have a call with Ron, you can have a call with me, find out a little bit more about Profit First and how Profit First professionals can help you set up your own insurance account or do that for your clients.
Yeah, help your customers with financial clarity, make more money, and stand out from the competition. It's that simple.
Got it. That's it. That's all.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much.